Adenoid hypertrophy is the swelling of lymphatic tissues found at the back of a nasal passage that are meant to help the body fight infections by removing bacteria and germs. This condition is usually common to children under the age of 5. Now, many parents confuse this with persistent cold, not knowing that it is a chronic condition that could get out of hand. This condition is always triggered by allergies such as cold and dust.
As we move on, as this constriction or this blockage of the airways becomes, the pathway becomes smaller and smaller, you get that the child now has, when the baby is sleeping, less oxygen goes into the body. This is at advanced age, and the heart now starts pumping much faster. And eventually, if it's not treated early, you discover now that the heart actually fails, and you end up with heart failure secondary to that adenoid hypertrophy. Is it common? Yes. Nowadays we see our children, almost 50% of them having issues with adenoid hypertrophy. And our clinics and our outpatient departments, we basically deal with that situation of adenoid hypertrophies in most of the children.
Anita Jerotich, a mother of one, whose 23-month-old baby has this condition, explains that it has not been easy bringing up her son because of the many trips she's had to the doctor.
It's been so difficult because it has made him to be predisposed to very many infections, like chest infections all the time. I always go back to the hospital. Maybe he has colds all the time, flu, fever, tonsillitis, sometimes ear infection. So every week I have to go to the hospital. He's given antibiotics, he's given cetirizine, antihistamine, and all of them has not helped. So it has been expensive, fast, then time consuming, because all the time you have to go to the hospital.
Just like other parents, Anita thought it was a normal flu at first.
I thought it was flu. The first time I realized was when he was 6 months. I thought it was flu, normal flu. So I took him to the hospital, that was Amat in Kangemi. I was told maybe it could have been cold, but now it has not come out clearly. So I was given some nasal drops. Later, it didn't help. I went back. I was told to seek better medical advice. That is from Kenyatta, but I didn't manage to go.
Children with adenoids are bound to have symptoms like persistent running nose or nasal congestion, cracked lips, snoring a lot, restlessness while sleeping, having episodes of not breathing during sleep, and frequent ear, throat and chest infections. And this mother of one explains her child is not an exception, since all this has made her children's life a bit difficult, as this makes children less active. Adenoid also limits a child's development, leading to a very slow growth rate.
It has affected him. His growth is slow, because if you compare him with his age mates, he must have talked, but now he has not. Yeah. Then in terms of weight, he's losing weight sometimes instead of adding. Sometimes he adds, sometimes he loses weight. He doesn't eat well, he doesn't sleep well, he doesn't play around well with other kids. And he's struggling to breathe using the mouth and not the nose.
Adenoids cannot be seen or felt. It's therefore advisable to have a doctor conduct tests in order to tell if a child is affected. These tests include X-ray of the throat, neck and sleep study. If not treated, this could lead to worse conditions like brain damage and heart failure. Signs like swollen legs, fast breathing, blue hands and mouth will show that the situation is getting out of hand.
If it doesn't improve or it's severe, with the medication that will be given, then we go in and say we want to do surgery. But also if we come the first time and we see that it's very severe and it's actually obstructing your airway, or you're coming with other symptoms in the body that are already showing that your heart is having problems, we actually intervene immediately, as soon as possible, so as to relieve the system and allow the baby to actually have good passages where they can breathe. Children tend to breathe, at that age, tend to breathe more with the nose than the mouth. Okay, and with that blockage, they really are struggling. Other things that may come as part of this adenoid hypertrophy is their development. In terms of speech, they will not be able to talk properly. In terms of what you call cognition or intelligence, they're usually lower in terms of that because the brain is starved of oxygen and the brain is not maturing as fast as other children. And you end up with a child who's quite slow, a child whose developmental milestones are quite behind. You get a child going to class, nursery school. During the day, the child is just sleeping or has a face that just shows that the child is very tired and is not able to capture anything in class. And those are the things that will tell us this is a time to intervene. And we try our medication. If it doesn't work, we come back for a review and we do a surgery, which is done by the ENT surgeon.
In most cases, adenoids shrink as the child grows, but surgery may be required if the symptoms are severe or persistent by the age of 2. Aneta says she's now a relieved mother after learning that something can be done to improve her son's condition, as this will mark the end of many trips to the doctor and sleepless nights and the beginning of a happy childhood for her son.